Farhan Lalji along with Jeff Patterson for a Canuck post-mortem edition of 3 and 3. And as we heard Travis Green and Jim Benning speak this morning, what were your biggest takeaways from Benning, not just in terms of what he's looking for this organization going forward, but his future to start with?
Well, he wants a contract extension, and that's understandable. He goes into the final year of his deal next season, and I just think this is such a huge offseason for a guy that really doesn't have a lot of job security right now, and he's been on the hot seat for the way that this season ended. You go into an offseason that includes the draft right here in this building, and then into free agency, which really has been his downfall to this point as a manager of the Vancouver Canucks. When you look at the Louis Eriksson deal, you look at the summer 2 years ago with Gagne and Del Zotto and some of those players, and then last year they identified that they wanted to bring in culture carriers and physical guys and bottom six forwards with mixed results with Antoine Roussel and Jay Beagle and Tim Schaller. This team needs to get better. Flat out, it needs skill, and there's a lot for Jim Benning to do in the offseason. So this is a big one for him. I think this is a show-me kind of offseason for ownership if Jim thinks that he's going to get that next extension.
Yeah, I think he would like the extension, but before next season, I'm not sure he's going to get that. And I think one of the things they're going to look at is his ability to potentially fix some of the past mistakes. He was able to move on from Eric Goodbranson and get some value there, but could he potentially move that albatross that is Louis Eriksson's contract? Louis gave us no indication that he plans to retire anytime soon. He does want to play the final 3 years of that deal and would like to stay here. And some of the other deals, can he move? Can he move on from a Marcus Granlund? Can he extract value from some of the other positions here with this situation? You've also got some other contracts that he's going to try to negotiate this offseason, and that's also been a problem for him because he's typically tended to over-dollar and over-term some of these guys. What is priority number one for Benning this offseason right now?
It's finding skill. Farhan, they were the lowest scoring team in the National Hockey League since Christmas. That's not an insignificant portion of the schedule. And that included having their big three, Besser, Horvat, and Pettersson, healthy for the most part after Christmas. They added Josh Leivo just before Christmas. Tanner Pearson came in at the end. He was productive. The power play came to life at the end. And they were still the lowest scoring team in the National Hockey League from Christmas on. So it tells you that they've got some pieces to build around. There's no doubt about that. But they need more. They just need more, and they need skill, and that's something that they haven't prioritized in summers past. So to me, that is sort of the start and the finish of their wish list this offseason is just get better, add more skill.
Before he can add, though, he's going to have to maintain some of what he's got. That Alex Edler contract has been put on hold. He's going to have to get that done. Jacob Markstrom going into the final year of his deal, he'd like to get a new contract done, and Benning said he's going to reach out to Markstrom's people in the next week or so. You've also got Brock Besser, is going to be a restricted free agent. He could command top dollar. How will they negotiate that situation? And then also Ben Hutton, who's had a bit of a bounce back year. So some work he's got to get done internally before he goes out and adds come July 1st. So certainly a very busy offseason for Jim Benning. And he was also asked a lot about the situation in Utica. Now, given how far they are, there's always going to be that belief there's a bit of a disconnect. But what do you make of what they got out of Utica this season?
Well, they didn't get a lot, let's be honest, and there are issues, not just geographical issues, but the fact that they had a couple of players that wanted out of the minor league system, and really most teams, when they go into a summer, they think, well, there'll be promotion from within, and there'll be a couple of players that have been down in the farm learning and developing that'll be ready to push for jobs. I'm not sure that's the case this year for the Canucks, particularly up front, outside of Zach McEwen, who had a nice season at the minor league level, but even his play tailed off down the stretch. And so there isn't a ton in the cupboards. What you see is what you get. Most Canuck prospects have made the jump right to the NHL. Look, a lot of them have shown pretty well at this level, but it's not like there's that next wave coming, and I think that's one of the real challenges of where the Canucks are with their farm system right now.
Yeah, and as far as Jonathan Dahlen, he was one of those players expected to push at some point. We'll see what happens with Olli Juolevi this offseason in terms of prospects. Cole Lind, Jonah Gadjevich, two forwards who many people had high hopes for, but didn't necessarily take that step next season to make you suggest they're going to push next season. So we'll see if they're able to stock that in any way, shape, or form. And there's also been some criticism about the location, and certainly the organization believes being in Utica is a good environment for them with that building full. There's less arduous travel, so there's more practice time, but certainly it's very difficult to make sure you've got your finger on the pulse of what's happening there on a day-to-day basis when you're not there and can't potentially watch. So we'll see if the Canucks look to make any changes in that. Don't expect a location change anytime soon, but some additions to the prospect pool would certainly be nice, and we could get a sense of where they're headed in that direction tomorrow with the NHL Draft Lottery taking place then. For Jeff Patterson, I'm Farhan Lalji. Thanks for logging on all season to Canucks 3 and 3.